Hello, hello. Today we are going to be talking about rounding numbers. Now, rounding numbers, like everything else we've done in this unit, really relies on a strong knowledge of place value. So if you don't have memorized the ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, 100,000s, millions places, you might want to pause this right now and go back to some earlier lessons and get that really stuck in your brain because the knowledge of those places is really needed to be able to round properly. Okay, so once we know our place value, we're going to think about what does it mean to round. So to round, you're really looking at a number and you're trying to find out which number that ends like a 0 is closest to it. So if you have like the number 17, you want to find out, is that closer to a 10 or a 20? And we round to figure that out. And you might think, why would I ever do that? But actually, whenever you round, it allows you to estimate. And estimation in math is probably the type of math that you'll do more often than anything else. So let's say that we're like at a grocery store and you want to buy a candy bar, and let's say that candy bar costs 78 cents. And then you also want to buy a soda pop, and let's say that soda pop costs 98 cents. So we might think, oh, how much exactly is that? You don't really sit around and figure out exactly to the penny how much that is. You might say, oh, well, the 78 cents, that's about 80 cents, and the 98 cents, that's about $1. So then you'll, oh, I need about $1.80. And it's not the exact amount, right? But that's an estimation. And that's why we need to know how to round so that we can use estimation. It's a way for us to be able to do mental math really fast so that we can figure out most of the time how things cost, but it can be used for other things as well. So today we're going to talk about how to actually round. To begin with, I'm going to start off with a number line, okay? So if I have a number line like this, let's say that this number line, we're going to start with some small numbers, okay? So let's start off with the number 10. And let's have it end at 20. Okay, when I'm doing a number line like this, the first thing I'm going to think about is what goes in the middle. So right in the middle, between 10 and 20 is the number 15, right? So I'm going to go ahead and fill this one completely in right now. So let's see if I had 11, 12, 13, and 14, 16, 17, 18, and 19. And I'll just write their numbers on them so we can see it. Okay, so here's our number line between 10 and 20. We've got 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. Okay, if I have the number 12, right, and I'm going to mark it with a point on the number line so it looks just like that, right? There's the number 12. Okay, and I want to know which number is 12 closer to. Is it closer to 10 or is it closer to 20? Okay, so I would look on this number line, I'd see, wow, well, 12 is just right next door to 20, right? It's just 2 little spots away where it's 8 spots away from 20. So this number, if I were asking what it's closest to, you would tell me it's closest to 10. Okay, another way in math of asking that is if I round the number 12 to the nearest tens place, which is it closer to? And it's closer to a 10. Okay, let's look at a different number on here. Let's look at the number 19. Okay, so if I have the number 19 and I want to know what it's going to round to. Well, if I have the number 19, where is it closer to? Is it closer to the 20 or is it closer to the 10? And I can see it's way closer to the 20, right? So 19 would round to 20. Okay, what if I had a different number on this number line? What if I chose the number 15? Okay, 15 is smack dab in the middle. It's equidistant from 10 and 20. But the mathematical kind of little rule here is to tell us when we're at the middle point, at 15, we're going to go ahead and round up. So we're going to say that 15 would round up to 20. Okay, so that's how it looks on a number line. So let's think about doing it another way. I'm going to erase the number line. I'm going to leave those answers up there. But let's start off with the number 12. Okay, so remember, I was going to try to figure out which tens this was closer to. So if I'm counting by tens, like 10, 20, 30, 40, right, which 10? Multiple of 10 it would be closest to. I'm going to go to the tens place. Okay, if you remember, this first one is the ones, the second is the tens. So I'm going to underline that place because I'm looking to round this number to the closest tens. Okay, so as soon as I underline the tens place, which is the place I'm looking for, I'm going to circle the number or the digit right to the right. Okay, the neighbor right next door. This guy I have to have a conversation with, and my conversation goes like this. Hey, number, are you a 5 or bigger? Is it a 5 or bigger or a 5 or greater? Nope. So if the answer is no, like it is here, that means that underline guy stays the same. I don't do anything with it. It's just going to stay exactly the same. But the guy that I talked to, that I asked the question to, it's bad news for him because he's going to blow up, turns into a 0, goes away. So I wind up seeing that if I round the number 12 to the nearest tens place, I get the number 10, just like I did on the number line. Okay, let's try the next one. Let's do the number 19. Okay, so again, I'm going to be rounding to the nearest tens place. So I'm going to go to the tens place right here, because this is the ones, this is the tens, and I underline it. Okay, as soon as I underline, that tells me I've got to do the next step, which is circle the neighbor right to the right. As soon as I circle the neighbor, I ask the neighbor, hey neighbor, are you 5 or greater? Look at this number, this is a 9. So it is greater than 5. So that answer is yes. As soon as my answer is yes, I have to do something with the underlined guy. He gets to go up by 1, just by 1 digit. So if it's a 1, it turns into a 2. But remember the same consequence for talking to this number with a circle on it. It blows up, turns to a 0. So it's gone. Okay, so then I can see now that if I round the number 19 to the nearest tens place, I get the number 20, just like I did on the number line. Okay, now let's try the number 15. Okay, so again, I'm rounding to the nearest tens place. So I go to the tens place. Here's the ones, here's the tens, and I underline it. Okay, as soon as I underline a number, I have to circle the neighbor right to the right. And as soon as I put the circle, I have to ask the question, hey neighbor, are you 5 or greater? Well, this number is a 5. So yes, it is 5 or greater. So if the answer is yes, remember that underlined number goes up 1. The guy I talked to blows up. So just like on the number line, I can see that 15, when rounded to the nearest tens place, is the number 20. Okay, so that's how the number line and our little trick of underlining the place and circling the neighbor works out. Okay, let's try a bigger number and see how that works out. Okay, so if I have the number, let's do the number 1,325, and I round this to the nearest thousands place. Okay, so I'm going to the thousands. Okay, if I'm going to the thousands place, I underline it. Remember, as soon as I underline something, I have to circle the neighbor right to the right. As soon as I circle the neighbor, I have to ask the question of it. Are you a 5 or greater? This is a 3, so it is less than 5, right? So nope, not 5 or greater. So remember, if the answer is no, the underlined guy, I just leave him alone. I don't do anything to him. But this guy, same result, right? If I've talked to him, he blows up. Here's the sad part for these other numbers. Anybody after the guy I talked to, blow up. So this number, when I see 1,325 rounded to the nearest thousands place, it rounds to 1,000. The question on a number line would have looked like this. Okay, I would have started off with 1,000. My other choice would have been on the other end of it, would have been 2,000. Right in the middle would have been 1,500. This number would be about here, right? Would be about 1,325. And I was asking, what is this closer to? Is it closer to 1,000 or is it closer to 2,000? And again, on the number line, it matches exactly what I'm doing here, right? That it is closer to 1,000. Okay, let's try another one like this. We're going to go an even bigger number. So let's go, not quite that big. We'll just stay in the 100,000s. Let's do 485,253. Okay, let's round to the nearest 10,000s place. Okay, so this is the place I'm looking for. Okay, so I've got the ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000. So I'm going to underline the 10,000s place. As soon as I underline, remember I have to circle the neighbor to the right. Okay, that neighbor, as soon as I circle him, I ask the question, hey neighbor, are you 5 or greater? Well, it's a 5, so yep, the answer is yes. So as soon as the answer is yes, this underlined guy goes up 1. Okay, so if it started off as an 8, it goes up 1 to a 9. Remember the poor guy that I talked to blows up, and unfortunately everybody after him also blows up. So explosions all around. But if you look at this original number, you'll see there's still another digit, this 4. I didn't talk to the neighbor and it's not after that guy, right? It's just sitting here. So I don't do anything to it. It just comes straight down. I just bring it right back down. So if I round this number, 485,253 to the nearest 10,000s place, that is closest to the number 490,000. If I had it on a number line, it would look like this. So if I had the number 480,000 and then the number 490,000 on a number line, my middle point would be 485,000. And I would see that this number would be about here, right? Just past that, so it'd be 485,253. So I'd want to know which is it closer to, 480,000 or 490? And on my number line, I can see also, just like this, that the answer is 490,000. All right, so once we understand how to find the rounded value of a number, right, we can underline the place we're looking for, circle the neighbor. Hey neighbor, are you 5 or greater? If it's yes, the underlined number goes up 1. If it's no, it stays the same. But everything that we circled and everybody to the right of it blows up. Everything to the left of that underlined number just stays the same. Okay, we do that so that we could estimate. Okay, so we might have a number that looks like this. Let's say that I have like 537 plus 428. And I tell you to estimate. Okay, if I want you to estimate the sum, remember a sum is an answer to an addition problem. So if I'm asking you to estimate the sum of this, I'm just going to go to the greatest place of this number, which in this one is going to be the hundreds place, right? So I'm going to underline that greatest place and circle the neighbor. Hey neighbor, are you 5 or greater? Nope. So that means the 5 stays the same. The guy I talked to blows up and everybody after him does. So this would round to 500. This next number, I'm going to go to that same place, the hundreds place, and I'm going to circle the neighbor. Hey neighbor, are you 5 or greater? Nope. So this number stays the same and the other guys blow up. So this, if I'm getting an estimate, would be 500 plus 400, which is about 900. So when I go to do the math of this, my answer should be somewhere close to 900. It's not going to be 900 exactly, because if you look at this, I actually had to round down and round down. So my answer is going to be a little bit more than this if I did the real math of it. But here I'm just estimating. So I should be able to do this in my head eventually, right? Where I could think, okay, this is closer to 500, this is closer to 400, and think 500 plus 400 is 900. So this is an estimation, right? So this is estimating the sum. Because if you remember, a sum is an answer for an addition problem. We can also estimate for a difference, and difference is the answer for a subtraction problem. So if I have a number that looks like this, let's say that I have 742 plus 389, okay? So I'm going to do subtraction, sorry. I'm going to find the difference, okay? So I'm going to subtract this problem. So I'm going to find what this is rounded. So I'm going to go to the hundreds place, circle the neighbor. Hey neighbor, are you 5 or greater? Nope. So this number stays the same and everybody else blows up. Minus, this one I'm going to go to the hundreds place also, circle the neighbor, say, hey neighbor, are you 5 or greater? The answer in this is yes. So that means this underlined guy goes up 1. Everybody I talk to and everyone after it blows up. So here I have about 700 minus 400, which would be 300. Okay, so that's what we've got to remember today, okay? So pay attention to your places, make sure you've got that memorized, and then underline the place, circle the neighbor to the right, ask the neighbor, hey neighbor, are you 5 or greater? If the answer is yes, the underlined number goes up by 1, but everybody that was circled and everybody after it blows up, turns to zeros. If there's anything to the left of the underlined number, you just leave it alone. Okay, if the answer is no, that it's not 5 or greater, the underlined number just stays the same, but all the blow up stuff still happens, okay? All right, well, good luck with today's work, and I'll see you next time.